What's this? I don't have Maverick. Yes, you read that right. I'm borrowing Alex's deck for round one of Legacy today. I will be up against Vincent, playing his signature Blood Eldrazi, the blood referring to Blood Sun, which means you can still turn off your opponent's fetches, you can still turn off things like Thespian Stage or Wasteland, but you don't lose things like Ancient Tomb. You can still play Eldrazi Temple. You don't actually have to sack a land when you have you don't actually have to sack your City of Traders when you have a City of Traders. So, Blood Sun, just a really good card if you're trying to use utility lands yourself, but don't want to give activated abilities to lands. Which, I mean, if I'm playing Maverick, then Wasteland is definitely a concern. So, this should be a pretty interesting matchup here. Now, I'm not too familiar with Maverick, but I'm also not the worst. Like, I'm an okay player. I'm not great. I'm not probably not tournament level. Maybe underselling myself a bit, but we're gonna see if I can figure out how to play Maverick. I think before this night, I've played Maverick maybe once, but I'm not even sure about that. So we're going to have to wait and see. Now, Stoneforge Mystic coming down is going to find Better Skull. Interesting to note, this deck doesn't have Cauldron. So that is not a possible find. I'm not sure if Maverick plays Cauldron all that often. I think some do and some don't. Like, it's a contentious thing. But at least for this match, there is no Cauldron coming. We do have a Hex Drinker. Hex Drinker, potentially very scary for a Eldrazi deck, as it can dodge removal fairly easily, as well as potentially just blocking a lot of the bigger stuff. And at a certain point, just straight up take over the game, of course. A Whatnot Seer coming down, revealing Maze of Ith, Dryad Arbor, a Questing Beast, and the Better Skull. Now, unfortunately, the Maze of Ith is not a legal take here. I don't think the Dryad Arbor is either. So it's either Better Skull or the Questing Beast. Both are a little bit scary. Yeah, it's a non-land card. And Dryad Arbor, despite being a creature, is also a land. Not a easy choice here, definitely. Like, Vincent ends up taking the Questing Beast. Now, this game was recorded a little while ago, so I don't fully remember how this match actually goes, which is good because that means I'm way more invested in. I always hate casting my own matches because I hate knowing the general flow of a game. It kind of takes out a bit of the excitement. But, like, if I forget what the match looks like, then, yeah, great, go for it. Passing the turn, not really a favorable attack here. And not leveling the Hex Drinker Might be holding up some interaction. Definitely holding up the Stoneforge Mystic. A land for Vincent here, and a Punishing Fire gonna take care of the Hex Drinker. What was that land called again? Like, it's one of those new Zendikar lands that on the front it's a spell, but on the back it's a land, and you can play it untapped. You pay 3 life. Batterskull coming down. Nice Spirit to serve as a germ here. There's still a Thought-Knot Seer in play. This if potentially able to force some damage through. Getting that the germ has vigilance there. Yeah, I never play with Stoneforge Mystic. I never play with Batterskull, so sometimes you just gotta read something. Vincent decides not to trade off the Thought-Knot Seer for the germ token, and Stoneforge Mystic getting removed from combat. Not have it die. And a bunch of life. A City of Traders coming down for Vincent. If Vincent has a Blood Sun, would be pretty good here. He does. Blood Sun going to protect his City of Traders. Going to draw him a card. Going to turn off the Maze of Ith, unfortunately. As well as potentially, at some point, a Wasteland. Looks like Vincent is holding, I think, a Reality Smasher. I definitely saw a second Punishing Fire. Also worth noting, Blood Sun does not turn off the life gain from Growth of the Burnt Willows. So, Punishing Fire is still live. There's also an Eldrazi Obligator. That one is a bit special. You don't see that one every day. The Obligator being a mind control, as well as having haste, so a potentially really dangerous swing should that ever become relevant. I think there's also a monkey, a Simian Spirit Guide in the hand for Vincent. I need to specify which monkey these days. It used to be that when you talked about monkey, it was Simian Spirit Guide. You could talk about Curd Ape, but I don't think many players talk about Curd Ape, unless you're playing like old school. But now we have Ragavan, making it a bit more difficult. Looks like a prismatic ending on the Thought-Knot Seer here. That's gonna open up the board for an attack. It's gonna draw a card. And then we swing in for 5. Thinking of Punishing Firing, he is going to Punishing Fire the Stoneforge Mystic here. Come in for 4, Vincent goes to 11, and I go to 27. That's a lot of life. Thankfully, Eldrazi are very good at getting through large amounts of life, as long as it's not infinite. And even if it's infinite, some of Eldrazi still find ways. Like, if you attack with an Ember Cool, that infinite life is not going to do you much good in protecting your board. Also, 15 damage, that's a lot of damage. Like anything short of infinite and you're gonna be tanking a lot to the face. We have Reality Smasher coming down for Vincent here. And pass. The Smasher could, in this situation, of course, be double blocked by the Batter Skull and the Dryad Arbor. But maybe that's not the worst. I mean, he could also be setting up for a Obligator next turn, just steal the Germ, and then just beat me with my own Batter Skull. That works. That's kind of the power of the Obligator. Thalia coming down. Thalia also going to be very good in the face of an Obligator. 2-1 first strike against a 3-1 without first strike is a pretty good deal. And Mother of Runes coming down. Now, Vincent, I don't think has a removal spell in hand right now. He already used 2 of his Punishing Fires. He doesn't have a Grove of the Burnwilla, so not getting them back this turn. I think there's a Simian and an Obligator in his hand. I don't quite know what the third card is. Goblin Rabble Master is the third card in his hand. We have Obligator, we have Rabble Master, and a Simian Spirit Guide. Could potentially be very dangerous here. Of course, if you play the Rebel Master, the tokens have to attack, and you just start feeding life to a Batter Skull. Instead, we're going to see Simian Spirit Guide come down. And just like that, we get into the famous Maverick board stall, as I like to call it. For some reason, whenever there's a Maverick game on this channel against another creature deck, it just turns into this massive board stall. Like, both players clogging up the field. No one really wants to attack. It's the person who attacks first is usually the person who loses. Unless, of course, they're attacking to win. But yeah, in situations like this, there's not really a good attack for either player. You want to be the person blocking, because you decide what lives and what dies at that point. Notably, Mother of Runes is not a giver of runes, or this would have been a completely different story. But Mother of Runes does protect herself, so it's still just a superior card all around. Except specifically when we're talking about colorless cards. Are we gonna break this board stall? Scavenging Ooze coming down. That's not breaking a board stall, that's making things worse. Ooh, didn't quite catch that. I think it was that was an Ancient Tomb. See, a Scrib Ranger in my own hand. Don't know what the other card is. Yeah, what do you do in a situation like this? You just sit there and you stare at each other. I mean, Vincent could decide to play the Rebel Master in preparation for playing the Obligator next turn. Let's try to create the biggest board he can right before he steals my Batter Skull. Probably not the worst. does help break through this board state. But yeah, if you play the Rebel Master, you're giving your opponent the opportunity to lifesteal for days. He's thinking about it. He is thinking about it. No, is going to cast the Obligator instead, and does indeed take the Batter Skull. Again, Script Ranger and something in hand. Obligator comes down. Batter Skull gets taken. We're looking at a just a germ attacking. Looks like it's going to be a block and then pro black. Because of course the germ of the Batter Skull is a black creature, which means Mother of Runes turns it into a free block. Not even the life link does anything here. Script Ranger getting flashed in. And we take turn. Looks like Horizon Canopy was the draw for the turn. Not very good with a Blood Sun into play. Because you can't sack it for the card draw. But you still lose life. Yeah, no, you can't sack it. Unfortunate. You still lose the life though if you tap it for mana. Blood Sun just a very good card here. Yeah, Blood Sun is definitely a card I think is underrated. Not just Legacy, but other formats as well. There's plenty of decks where you still want the kind of Blood Moon land hate, but you don't necessarily want Blood Moon because it also just hits you. Really good example of this is the Jeskai Lotus Field deck in Modern. That deck actually uses Blood Sun as an accelerant, because you play the Lotus Field, which then not only comes in untapped, but you don't actually need to sack 2 lands to play it, and suddenly you're ramping like a madman. Like a Green Sun Zenith or 3 here because of the Thalia. Yeah, Blood Sun, pretty good second option after Blood Moon. If Blood Moon is something you want but you can't actually play, think of the Blood Sun. Actually, did I miss 2 Ancient Tomb activations? I think I missed 2 Ancient Tomb activations. We've got a 26. The Green Sun Zenith going to find a Knight of the Reliquary. And Script Ranger coming in for 1. So Script Ranger, kind of a clock here. Knight of Reliquary, able to block and potentially swing in at some point. An Obligator would have been really nice here. But we used that one. This one, yes. Definitely one of, if not the strongest cards in the Maverick deck is Knight of the Reliquary. Vincent in the cast. Maybe a Thought Knots here? I did see something. It was... No, we get Rebel Master. Rebel Master coming down. And potentially about to give me a ton of life. Every combat step Vincent goes through, he gives me 4 life.
Ik denk niet dat je me gratis 4 leven wil geven. Nee, kijk eens. Dank je.
Mijn excuses voor het ijsklontje. Ik heb niet weer genoeg in de koelkast.
So, I'm not looking too great for Vincent here. Not impossible. Thinking an obligator here, maybe a removal spell could end up being pretty sweet. Could still potentially help him clear the board here. But it does put some pressure on Vincent here. Vincent is definitely the one who has to do something. I mean, we both have to do something, right? We're both just kind of looking at each other from across the trenches. Knight of the Reliquary. And not sacrifice Maze of Ith just yet. Question is, do I want to sack one of my actual mana sources? And I decide I do, because there is one card that does help here. And that is Yavimaya, turning everything into a forest. And if Maze of Ith is a forest, then Knight of Reliquary can just get rid of it. Find something more useful to do. Where is that? This one. Yavimaya is the find. Now, the interesting thing here is there is a Blood Sun in play. And you try to play a Yavimaya. And this is a bit of a tricky interaction, actually. Because of the way layering works, the Yavimaya comes in, gives the forest type to everything else, and then loses its ability. It's a really weird interaction, but we do eventually settle on Yavimaya still having its effect turn everything into a forest. But it takes us a bit of time, so I'm gonna make a quick jump cut here. But yeah, I managed. At least I made sure afterwards. I checked with the judge, and yeah, Yavimaya actually does work kinda under Blood Sun, even though it doesn't have the effect. It's weird. Layering is weird like that. So Yavimaya coming into the field. Yavimaya, really good addition to this deck. Being able to turn everything into a forest, meaning you can sacrifice anything using Knight of Reliquary. Because of course, before this, these decks would sometimes play Urborg. But yeah, Yavimaya just so much better in that regard. Not only because green is a more important color, but because of the Knight Reliquary, of course. Oh, not just Knight Reliquary. Also because of the script range, because everything is a forest. You can just pick up anything you want and just put it down again. Yeah, pretty good effect. Definitely. But how does it fix our board stall here? The Knight of the Reliquary right now sees 2 lands, so it is a 4/4. But that could potentially go up by a significant margin. Thought Not Seer coming out for Vincent here. Not sure what my last card in hand is. Oh, Greensun Zenith. Oof. That is unfortunate. Greensun Zenith, a very good card. Better Skull blocking. Looks like a... Is the point of health somewhere? Looks like... I think I'm at 31 at this point. So... If you're here... I have to ask... What is it about Maverick board stalls that you find interesting? Like, I'm not shaming anyone, but I gotta ask. Yeah, I don't mind Maverick. I think it's definitely something I could see myself playing, but then at the same time, it kind of isn't. I like the value-oriented aspect of Maverick, just not necessarily the board stalling aspect of it. Just doing more grindy Maverick things here. It's interesting because Maverick is kind of a toolbox deck. I mean, it's not kind of a toolbox deck. It's a toolbox deck. It's Green Sun Zenith toolbox deck. But I feel like the toolbox aspect of the deck isn't actually that much of a toolbox. Maybe that's just me. Maybe that's my modern showing through here. But I always feel like a toolbox deck should have like 20 toolbox cards. Maybe that's an unreasonable expectation. It probably is. It probably is. A bunch of lands. 4 lands in the graveyard right now. So the Knight of the Reliquary is a 6/6. It's just a bit short of taking out 2 creatures. If I decide to attack with it. And yeah, just grinding through my mana base. Also just partly deck thinning, partly pumping the Knight of the Reliquary, but not a whole lot that's actually happening. So, what would break a board stall like this? Swords to Plowshares would be a good one. Hexdrinker is already exiled. Vincent Zenith for 1. Come out here. By Noble Hierarch. Potentially giving Exalted to any potential attacker, so a bit more damage there. I will say Maverick has some interesting lines involving Script Ranger. Just playing around land drops, playing around untapping your Knight of the Reliquary. Also potentially using it to ramp. Like, Script Ranger has a lot of interesting things it can do. Doesn't have a lot of interesting things it can do right now other than just grinding through the mana base a bit. He had another top notch here finding a land which we knew, and then another goblin and another 4 life, putting me at 36. And he's good. This is game 1, by the way. This is game 1. We haven't even sideboarded, and we're already 30 minutes into the video. If you're still watching, if you hear the sound of my voice right now, leave a message in the comments. I want to know if you like this content. I want to know if you're here for the Maverick board stalls. Because I'll see what I can do. I can probably work with Alex and get you some more Maverick. Definitely. So, speak up, let me know. Finally remember that Batterskull has another ability. And equip it to the Knight of the Reliquary. 6 lands, so it is now a 12/12 Vigilance lifelink. And surely that is enough to start attacking, isn't it? Just attack, make Vincent either chump or just straight up kill it in combat. Either way is probably fine. And yes, I have just considered the fact that I could have equipped the Batterskull like way sooner than this, but I just didn't think of it. I mean, watching this back, I still forgot that that is just an option. I just completely forgot that Batterskull has text. So, my apologies, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, if you've been watching this channel for a while, maybe you know me in real life, you will know I'm an idiot. Also, why have I not been attacking with the Script Ranger? Why have I not put the Batterskull in the Script Ranger and just attack with the Script Ranger? Now that I think about it. What am I doing? Just looking back at this, what am I doing? I'm just sitting there grinding with my knight. I could have probably finished like 5 to 10 turns ago. Yeah, I don't know. No idea what I'm doing. Looks like a knight being activated. Board being wiped here. Knight gonna bump itself. And Vincent reminding me that I could have actually just equipped the Batterskull. Anyway, it's fine. We go to game 2. Let's see if Vincent is able to pull out a win here. Or yeah, no, let's just go to game 2. Alright, let's now talk about game 1. Game 2. Vincent starting us off with a Grove of the Burn Willows. I've completely forgot to change everything. Okay, let me just quickly fix that. Wasteland coming out. Gonna take care of the Grove here. Damien Spirit Guide gonna put a Blood Sun into play. There we go. a bayou and turn. Yeah, just completely out of this match. While playing completely out of this match, while casting. Just all over the place. Second Blood Sun coming out for Vincent. Just cantripping, turning off Wastelands. Thankfully, I got rid of my Wasteland when I had the chance. Thalia coming down here. Gonna hopefully slow down Vincent a little bit. And Punishing Fire, gonna take care of Thalia. Now there is a Punishing Fire, as well as a Growth of the Burn Willet on the field. Potentially a very dangerous position to be in when you're the Maverick player. Just have your opponent run you through with Punishing Fires. Is Vincent at... What is Vincent's life? I don't think he actually changed his die. A third Blood Sun! Wasteland and Caracas just not doing anything this game. They're just there for show. I mean, they're there for mana. But if you're using Wasteland for mana... Yeah, that's not the greatest land in the world. Not the worst, but... Yeah. Looks like Vincent at 13. Pretty big swing with the Questing Beast and an Exalted Trigger on top of that. Vincent gonna give me a life to double Punishing Fire the Questing Beast. That works. And Vincent going to 11. Probably worth it to just throw those Punishing Fires there. Even though it's a pretty big tax. Got a point of life there, not sure why. But I'll leave them on this. 3 mana going to Knight of the Reliquary. Good bit of pressure here, but... Any pressure will do when all you've got is 3 Blood Suns. Second, Grove. Which could potentially just kill the Knight Reliquary here. Yeah, you just... No, he short 1 red. Because he needs 2 red to actually pick them up, then 2 more red to throw them. So he is then short a turn. Or he could just stomp. Yeah, 2 damage on the Knight Reliquary off the stomp. Then takes 2 and a mana floating. 2 more Fiery Confluence. 2 damage to creatures, 2 damage to my person. That is going to take care of the Knight Reliquary. And actually, is it? Yeah, because the fetch doesn't do anything. Yeah. So... Board gets wiped. I go back to 22. Fiery Confluence. At this point, a very nice staple of these kinds of mono red decks due to its incredible flexibility. For example, taking care of artifacts like Batter Skulls or Swords of Fire and Ice being found by a Stoneforge Mystic. Now, I heard correctly, I think time in the round was cold. But not Seer. Seeing plenty of gas here. Better Skull, Athalia, Remnant, Excavator, a Swords of Plowshares, and a Verdant Catacombs. Getting a quick judge call still from the Yavimaya before. Yeah, this match I think is pretty done. I don't think Vincent can win here in 3 turns. So, I'm going to ask you guys, how's your day been? My day has been slow. It's all of my days these days are a little slow. I've been having some trouble sleeping the last few weeks, but that's all right. I get enough sleep, enough good sleep to still get me through the day, so that is definitely nice to have. I think Vincent is at 10 again. Off of the Swords of Plowshares. Yeah, sleep is underrated. Definitely. Good night's sleep does wonders. Especially if you have a better skull on the field and a creature to equip it to. Sleep will do you wonders then. I'm seriously wondering, like, I always keep talking till the end of the video. First of all, because it's good practice, but I really do wonder, is there anyone still listening? Maybe you have me on in the background, like you're having dinner, maybe you watch me before bed or something, and you're kind of listening, but you're not really hearing, but you're still here. Shout out to you if you're still here. And shout out to all the people trying to get a good night's sleep who are watching this, and hopefully this helps you fall asleep. And if you're not trying to sleep and you're just here because you want something on in the background, I know a lot of people who say they just turn on some YouTube content, sometimes my content, sometimes other content, just to have it on in the background. They're kind of watching, but also kind of doing other stuff. I know I do the same thing with a lot of other content creators. So, if somehow this is coming through, how you doing? I'm talking to you. Yes, you. Let me know if I'm talking to you or if I'm just sitting here by myself. I mean, I am sitting here by myself. Like, let's be honest about that, right? I am sitting here by myself talking to my own gameplay that I'm not even paying attention anymore. There's a reality smasher and a thought not seer. There's a Knight of Reliquary and some things. Obligator actually takes the Knight of Reliquary and is going to swing here. Bit of damage, and that is the GG's. I don't remember if this was a draw or that we decided that I won, but in the end, the winners are the ones who were entertained, right? Right.